Reverend Crystal Cox here. I hope that I live to see the end of all human slavery. I don't know that I will, 44 now. I am shocked every time I watch some historical show about black slavery, and I just cannot imagine the kind of darkness and evil that would make these white men beat black men and women and for misbehaving, and what's behaving is what they say is behaving, to pick a color and make them slaves and to do what they want with them. They're just like they grew them in a petri dish or something. They, abusing them and beating them and making them their property. And nowadays we still see that with of course the immigration issue is to heal that. In a way, we bring in people and we have kind of slave labor, and then we won't give them citizenship. I personally believe we should be one world without borders. Human trafficking, sex slaves, selling people now is still very prevalent, and it's very, very sad. To be a society that no longer has slaves, that no longer has people that are oppressed by the alleged word of God, people that are beaten, stoned, killed, persecuted in any way because of some white Jesus, some version that people have of what God is. Certainly the first people on this planet were not white. White privilege is just, it's like they were the weaker species, maybe not as healthy, weren't as strong, couldn't thrive as much, so they decided to, just slaughter people and take the Indians' land, take the Mexicans' land. They wanted sugar, take the Hawaiian lands. And then now these same white people are like, hey, this is our country. You can't come here, you have to speak our language and blah, blah, blah. I mean, we don't speak Native American. It all needs to just go away. And, it's just heartbreaking, watching these stories of civil rights, and black people being tied to trees and beaten. And what of the men that did this, And then you think, well, like our police force now, if someone tells them to do something evil to society, they do it, regardless of whether or not it's the right thing or not. And these have these slave masters, and they're paying these white men to beat these black folks into submission, and it's like they have no emotions, no family unit, no husbands and wives, no love, they don't care about any of that, they don't respect any of that, and all because they come in and stole the land from the Native Americans, and then they had bigger guns. It's very sad, and I hope that the light comes in more and more intensely every day and stops this oppression. And even though now we've had a black president, we still have huge, huge racial issues. And some of the things I've read about, when you come into a culture, you take away their spirituality, you take their God, you take the Great Spirit. You've seen it with the Indians, you've seen it with the black people, you see it with every different culture. The white people that come in that want to suppress them, take away their religion and take away everything that's sacred to them, don't let them practice it, don't let the kids sing the song, speak the language, just take away everything that is sacred to them and push on the white people's versions of the Bible and things that they say are the best. And this was able to happen, I guess, through technology or bigger guns, being able to slaughter them and beat them and suppress them. Certainly, they didn't believe that garbage of all men are created equal. The U.S. Constitution doesn't seem valid at all. And where's the equality? Where's the freedom? And when you look at it as a big picture, and you look at women's rights, women were property. Women couldn't buy homes. They married. They by law had to have sex with their husband. They were obligated to do that. Okay, and this stuff still carries into society today. You know, and women are punished if they don't listen to their husbands, and the men are the head of households, and the men are in charge of the women. The women property. They like, where are the women going to go if they don't obey, right? And if they're beaten or suppressed in any sort of way, the local like judge and judicial community and men were like, well, whatever, she needs to listen to her husband, you know. And the only thing the husband really has over is that he can get money, get loans, get in this system, have a home, and he's stronger. I mean, certainly when you look back in time, like Beethoven's wife wrote a lot of his stuff. I mean, you look at Roosevelt and the stuff that his wife wrote. I mean, the women were doing a lot of the work, and there should have been equality all along. And so whatever we can do every day, yes, through prayer, but also through every single action, and you know what kids are taught today, what men are taught, what women are taught about equality. It doesn't seem to be. It's changing, and it's beautiful in that way, but in a way it's not. I mean, you see the comments online, and you see that, you know, it's still the same mentality. And men thinking that they're, you know, in control of women, or some women thinking that really about men. I mean, it all depends about how you were raised, I guess, but still, there's still no equality in pay. There's still, you know, a slave system where, you know, the 1% or whatever they call it, you know, you're working for something that's not towards your own future. You're working towards someone else's future and paying a bunch of taxes and bailing out banks. And, you know, this is all a form of slavery, really. And if you don't do exactly what they say, you know, pay the bills their way, do it their way, drive the way they say, then they, you know, they lock you up, they put you in jail. Or, you know, if you get a disease, you're not allowed to cure it with natural cures because, you know, they don't trust God on that. They trust the pharmaceutical companies, but they trust God on whether you're sinning or not. You know, it's all just a mess. And I really... every day I do a certain amount of energy work and prayer to try to help clear that energy. And I also believe that we carry in our DNA that, you know, and I'm related to Meriwether Lewis, and I believe that, you know, I carry in me part of that of healing, of opening up the lands to, you know, kill the Indians. And Indians still don't have equal rights. You know, they are on reservations, they don't have equality. And I think whether you're white or black or Indian or whatever race you are, whatever income you are, you should have equality. And there should be no particular part of society that are slaves, be it women, be it different races. And, you know, some white men are sold into slavery, sex slaves as well. We like to pretend that that system is not there, but it is. So, first of all, looking at it, acknowledging it, healing it, just seeing it helps to heal it. But at any rate, watching this movie today again about, you know, I usually fast forward or whatever when black people are being beaten by their masters, and I just cringe at how can these white men do that. And you know, I wish that God would just, you know, kill them right there. Like, how could you beat these beautiful people for not, you know, and in a way, when you look at the black people, they're stronger, they're healthier, they're more resilient, and you got the white people rolling over them, you know. And it's just, it's sick and it's sad, and it's time for healing and to heal that DNA, that bloodline that you feel, you know. And still, black people are afraid that, you know, if they get pulled over, they're afraid they're going to get killed by a cop. I mean, there's still this fear, there's still this hate, there's still this huge energy, and I just pray for it to be love, you know, the love of black people, the love of women, you know. And I don't say hating white men, but it's about equality for good white men too. It's like, wow, you know, how can we say that women, you know, some men, like we've seen in some recent thing in the news, like at one of these school shooting things, and the guy's like, he went to college feeling like he was entitled to sex. I mean, these men think they're actually entitled to have sex with these women, whether the women want to or not. And the Bill Cosby thing that's bringing up the date rape drug, I mean, that's been forever. You know, pedophile rings, human trafficking, this stuff first has to be looked at and accepted that it's a reality. You know, this is massive. I've written about corruption for 12 years, and I can tell you, I don't talk about it much online because, you know, whatever. But the foundation of it all seems to be sex. You know, sex slavery, date rape drug, you know, drugging some senator and setting him up with some girl or a young boy or some situation and then blackmailing them for the rest of their life. Or it seems to be some sort of a sexual base in all corruption, and sadly enough, a lot of it's pedophilia, and it's just got to stop. As a society, you need to stop having sex with children. You know, stop rape. You know, consenting adult is the only type of sex that should be legal at all. I shouldn't say, oh well, she's my wife, so I can do what I want with her. You know, really pray for all this equality and ending this violence and oppression and making people do something they don't want to do just because you want them to do it and you think it's right. So you're going to beat them, you're going to rape them, you're going to push them into poverty, you're going to do some sort of punishment. You know, death is better, okay? You die, you cross over. You know, what is it, New Hampshire, live free or die. You know, you don't have to do what these people say, you know. They torture you and rape you and beat you and just keep you alive. It's like, you know, you see people that are tied up in basements and locked in basements even now. You see for years. Sex slave stuff is real. I've seen the suburban sex slave shows where they like have these teenagers, they lock them in these houses, they drug them, and they charge people to have sex with them. Seattle's like a couple hours from where I'm at now, and there's like, what they say, like 700, I think it was year before last, I said, in the sex slave. I mean, this is Seattle, and you think of it liberal and open-minded. Where is the society not able to stomach that it exists, so we're not able to stop it? And we just really need to heal this. And so this black-white thing right now is about that too, okay? I mean, I can't speak for black people. I'm not black. I don't have it in my DNA as far as I know. I know I have Indian on both sides, and white is part of that. But this is about cleansing pain of human trafficking, pain of slavery, whether it be sex slaves or any kind of slaves, and beating and torching and making people do things that they don't want to do. It's about freeing the human spirit, the human soul. It's about human rights, human dignity. And the uprising that's going on right now is, yeah, it's pick a side and be black or white sort of deal. But it really, it's about justice versus not justice, light and dark. What's right, you know, what's wrong, and what's moral, what's not moral. And by moral, you know what's right. I mean, if your religion or your moral belief is oppressing another person or torturing or tormenting them, and you think God gives you that right or wants you to do that, well, you're just wrong. You're really wrong, okay? If you believe in God that way, then let God do that work, okay? Stop persecuting people and stop ignoring it. And yeah, you didn't cause this, you didn't cause slavery, you didn't kill the Indians, but your bloodline was a part of this. And I believe we're reincarnated. And even if you don't believe that, it's still a bloodline. It's still in your blood somewhere. So heal it in any way that you possibly can. And I know that it's going to be real hard this next phase, but when people discuss these racial issues right now, it's about something way deeper than black and white or black rights. You know, the black rights represent civil rights for gays, for women, for children, for sex slaves, for human trafficking slaves. That side of this thing represents everything to do with oppression and, you know, you stopping people's religion, stopping their way of life, and harming and hurting and, you know, shooting and beating and raping and doing all these horrible things to people just because you think you're better than them. Okay? And the other side of it, yeah, in this case it's white, but they're not all white on this side, they're not all white on that side. It's just that this side of it represents, we are better than you, we are smarter than you, we're white, we're privileged, we got the money, we got the power, we'll do whatever we want, we're entitled to have sex with our wives, we're entitled to do what we want, we're in charge. And that's kind of the two sides of this, and I just really pray for equality, just equality across the board, and bringing in more and more and more love. God bless you all.